I'll briefly go over the three designs I went through and the results I got. Start off with the main difference between traditional and agentic search is user intent. Traditional search works great when the user has passive intent such as browsing a topic or comparing options loosely. Agentic search starts when a user has a more complex information need, such as building an itinerary, doing a literature survey, creating a shortlist under constraints. I started off with a serial pipeline, which helped me identify the failure modes early, which were entity understanding, deciding which results to follow up on, and turning retrieved data into structured output. To address these, I came up with a data model where a page was a unit of retrieval, a mention was a unit of extraction, and row was an output unit. Once I had this model, I could treat the sources differently. A forum thread, a directory page, an editorial article, and entity pages / official sites. These are not the same kind of evidence and they should not be used in the same way. This is what led to V1, which had the first real feedback loop. This system could plan a query, retrieve pages, evaluate what it had, and decide whether it needed to search more to address the gaps, or stop, rank, and export. Both systems had a lot of peculiar failure modes. For V0, we had trouble disambiguating what an entity was versus what pages were. For V1, we had the problem of dead-end retrieval. For example, looking up the Winter 24 healthcare startups at YC, we came across a bunch of pages which had a lot of old and stale data, which led to us investigating entities which may or may not have existed anymore, causing us to blow our search budget and stalling out. Another problem was that the supervisor became a bottleneck. This is what led to V2. In V2, I made the system much stricter as what counts as evidence. Weak sources can suggest leads which lead to double-check fetch requests. However, only strong sources can ground a row. This reduced both dead-end retrieval and the risk of weak or outdated pages being used as final evidence. Secondly, instead of having a supervisor, I made a deterministic rules engine to remove the control flow bottleneck. Additional search and fetch queries can happen based on evaluation in independent pipelines. As a result, we had a lot more grounded, verified entities populating our result table. There were drawbacks such as a low recall. The number of rows being created out of the search set was way lower than it should have been. So the architecture progression was V0 made a baseline, V1 introduced a better state model and feedback loop, and V2 lets rows appear only after they are backed by strong evidence.